Welcome to Ascension, a place full of uncanny challenges, so you better use your brain. These are authentic Russian cosmonaut monkey zombies.
Seriously, these things are so annoying.
So put an end to animal testing by sending their hairy asses into the atmosphere.
Hey, what's up, soldiers? My name is GregFPS, the Zombies Extraordinaire, and welcome to my Ascension review. So, a lot of you guys have been commenting things that you didn't think were quite right with the rating system for these maps. So what I did was I did a complete rework. I took out a few of the categories, added in brand new ones as well, which you guys will see. And overall, I'm really happy with how this turned out. So just know that at the end of the video, when I show the ratings for all the maps, I scaled all the maps that I have previously done to make it fit with Ascension, and we're going to be using this list going forward into the future from now on. So I'm really happy with this. I took out some of the ones that you guys disagreed with, like the difficulty and the map size shouldn't really be into play when you're grading a map. I just don't think that that was fair, and I shouldn't have included that in the first place. So anyways, without further ado, let's get right into the review of Ascension. Everyone thinks my zombies opinions are wrong, so I decided to take a step back and review each zombies map based off 20 categories. Each category is worth 5 points for a cumulative total of 100. This is a totally serious review, memes included. If you would like to watch my previous reviews on Nocturne Toten, Varrock, Shinonuma, Doris, Kino der Toten, and 5, the playlist will be linked down below in the description. This is episode 7, Ascension, the most innovative zombies map ever. Back on February 1st, 2011, Call of Duty Black Ops' first map pack was released called First Strike. Ascension was the zombies map along with 4 multiplayer maps, which were Berlin Wall, Discovery, Kowloon, and Stadium. Like I mentioned in the title, Ascension is the most innovative map because it changed zombies drastically for the better. Ascension introduced a few weapons for the first time. It never introduced a wonder weapon, but it introduced 2 new equipment as well as a new melee weapon. The new equipment were the Gersh device and the Matryoshka dolls, and the new melee weapon was a replacement of the Bowie knife. It was called the Sickle and was located by the pad near Speed Cola. It cost 3,000 points off the wall, exactly like the Bowie knife. 2 brand new perks were added into the map as well, and this was the first time we saw new perks since we got perks for the first time in Varrock. This map also removed a perk which was Double Tap. It never had a physical perk machine on the map and was only acquired from the Wonder Fizz in the Black Ops 3 remake. The 2 new perks were PhD Flopper, which allows you to take no explosive damage, no fall damage, and you could dive and create an explosion around your body that killed zombies till about round 20. The other perk that was introduced was Stamina Up. It gives a 7% speed increase and also allows sprint endurance to be twice as long. It was basically a combination of lightweight and marathon for multiplayer. The next awesome thing added to zombies was the first Easter egg that was rewarding. It didn't end the game and gave you a 90-second death machine as well as all perks available on the map. It was the first time there was an actual quest besides the fly trap on Doris. Easter eggs have been a mainstay in zombies ever since. A new transportation method was added to the map, which was the Lunar Lander. It allowed for travel from the spawn room to the 3 other main areas of the map. It acted identical to the teleporters on Doris, where you needed to link the Lunar Lander from the 3 other areas back to spawn before you could launch the rocket on the map to open up Pack-a-Punch. Until power was turned on, the map was also in black and white. It was the first map to appear in Russia as well. Ascension was the first map that allowed you to get more than 4 perks as well, and you could get them all from the Easter egg like I mentioned, or you could get them from the special round. The special round on Ascension was also new. Instead of Hellhounds or the Pentagon Thief, there was Space Monkeys. The monkeys forced you to protect your perks. If the monkeys touched your perks at all, you could not get a free perk, and if the monkeys hit them enough, you would end up losing them. When playing solo, it was very important to protect Quick Revive because you could only buy it 3 times. If the monkeys never touched a perk, you would get a free perk. This was the first time the perk power-up was added into zombies. The map also has the centrifuge and the spawn room, which activates on a random timer, usually at the start of each round, but it can be effectively used to kill zombies if they are in the way. One interesting thing about the map was that Richthofen was wearing a spacesuit as opposed to his normal Nazi uniform, whereas the other 3 characters of Ultimus were using their normal uniform with a little bit more blood. The innovation for Ascension is 5 out of 5. The atmosphere of Ascension is very cool. It takes place in 1963 at the same time as 5 and is right during the space race between Russia and the United States. The map takes place at night at an abandoned cosmodrome. It is a launch facility for rockets to space, and even in the spawn room there's a centrifuge for astronauts to train for the G-forces in a rocket launch. This can also be used to kill zombies effectively as well. The black and white start to the map is a pretty cool feature that adds to the atmosphere. Then when the power is turned on, color fills the entire map. One interesting thing that I read was that Russia never ended up sending monkeys to space until the 80s, so I don't really know why that makes sense in the 1963 time period, but still, nonetheless, we do have to end up protecting the perks from the monkeys. Now, one really cool thing that Treyarch did was they modeled the macaws, which were the monkeys that they actually ended up using, the same breed of macaws. I believe it's called the Rhesus macaws. Not really too sure on that one, the pronunciation wise, but still, it's really cool. The atmosphere feels dark and definitely gives off the vibe of Soviet Russia abandonment, because of the huge mural that's right next to the lunar lander pad by PhD, which looks awesome, by the way. And also when the rocket goes off, you really feel like you're at a launch facility. So overall, I give the atmosphere of the map a 5 out of 5. Instead of basing it off of my personal opinion, I did a poll on Twitter, and out of the 381 votes in 12 hours, the community decided 3 out of 5 was a proper grade for the nostalgia of Ascension. Ascension is considered now to be a mid-range map, but since most people who voted probably never played it when it released, it is pretty hard to get an accurate nostalgia rating. Ascension has traps located around different parts of the map to have a good flow if you're going to be killing zombies with traps. There are 2 fire traps, one is on the way to the rocket pad and the other is on the way to Stamina Up. These spots are great because you can effectively block off large portions of the maps if you activate both of them on a special monkey round. The only problem is the monkeys can still land on the crashed lunar landers past the fire traps. There are also automatic turrets around the map as well, which work fairly effectively, and they are in pretty good spots as well. The fire trap costs 1000 points and the turret trap costs 1500 points, and they have a 90-second cooldown. The traps on Ascension are nothing revolutionary because we've already seen them in previous maps, but the fire traps are much better than the fire trap on Kino because it actually blocks entranceways as opposed to in the middle of a room. Overall for the traps, I give Ascension a 3.5 out of 5. As far as wonder weapons go, the only real wonder weapon is the Thunder Gun, which can effectively insta-kill zombies up close at any round. Once you get to the later rounds, zombies can get knocked down instead of killed if they are not close enough. The Gersh device was also a special equipment added into Ascension, which essentially replaced the monkey bombs. Just like the monkey bombs, you got 3 of them, and you can kill an entire horde in one of them, and also you can jump into a Gersh and be teleported to a random part of the map. Matryoshka dolls were also added to the map, which are great for killing zombies as they create multiple explosions each layered down the dolls, which deal a lot of damage and why they are necessary for the last step of the Easter egg. With the Thunder Gun and Gersh devices being such great killing methods, I give Ascension a 4 out of 5 for wonder weapons and special equipment. Ascension has one of the best mini boss rounds in all of zombies because it requires planning ahead and also knowing where exactly to defend. If you're playing in a co-op game, it is much easier to defend areas. For example, in a solo game, you're going to want to defend Quick Revive, and the only door you would want to open to jug is the spawn door so that you can defend both at the same time. If you lose Quick Revive, you can only buy it 3 times and it will disappear. If you're playing in co-op, someone can watch Speed and Mule Kick, one person can cover Jug, one person at PhD, and the other at Stamina Up, so that you usually have a higher chance of getting free perks with everyone spread out. The monkeys were a lot more difficult to kill in the Black Ops version of Ascension, and even when it got to the higher rounds, it would take multiple Thundergun shots. The Mustang and Sallies worked well, including the ray gun as well, to kill the monkeys. You can also flop onto them the first few rounds they spawn in, and the best thing is they don't spawn in on later rounds with normal zombies like dogs do. When I play solo, I don't even end up opening the jug area and hope that I get it as a free perk while defending quick revive. The traps work well in defending perks because it will kill most of the monkeys, and if you have a nuke gobblegum, you could also kill all the zombies with that in a round. The special round on Ascension is a high risk, high reward type challenge, and I really enjoy it, so that deserves a 4 out of 5. Traveling around a map can be one of the most annoying things when a map is huge. For example, massive maps like Origins don't have any way of traveling unless you go through the crazy place, and even then you need to be so fast because it takes 10 seconds to build the portal out. For Ascension, there are 3 main ways that you can get to someone if they go down. The first method is literally just running to them. You can make it from Pack-a-Punch to the Stamina Up side fairly easy with no problems. You can throw a Gersh device down and jump through it, and it will bring you to a random place, or you can just use the lunar lander from spawn or back to spawn. The transportation methods are better for getting you out of tricky situations than bringing you to where you need to go, however. I give the transportation on Ascension a 3 out of 5. The map setup for Ascension is great because it doesn't take very long to get everything set up. The first thing you need to do is get to power so that you can start linking the lunar lander areas. The main thing that can be a little frustrating is that in order to open up Pack-a-Punch, you need to open and link all 3 of the lunar landers in each area, so you essentially open up the entire map when you want to Pack-a-Punch. It can take some time to get the Thundergun from the box as well as Gersh devices, especially in the first box location by power. As long as you have enough points, you should be able to open up the entire map quickly, which I like. Recently, it has taken Treyarch a much longer time until you can open Pack-a-Punch because you need to do a bunch of different challenges. Ascension is quick just like Derice, which I really think is great. I give this setup a 4 out of 5. It is quick, especially if you can get the Thundergun quick from the box. Ascension was the first map to have a full-blown Easter egg and was found a few days after the release of the map, but required 4 players. First, you throw a Gersh device at the generator out of the map, then hit the computer terminal to the left of the room past the Stamina Up area. After that, on a monkey round, there are 4 buttons that each player needs to press at the same time. They are next to 4 perk machines: Jug, Speed, PhD, and Stamina Up. Then you need to stay on the launch pad metal plates once pack is opened for 2 minutes. Then ride the lunar lander from spawn to Stamina Up, back to spawn, spawn to Speed Cola, and then from Speed to Stamina Up and collect the letters L-U-N-A, spelling Luna. Last but not least, you need to deal a ton of damage to the Orb of Light by throwing a Gersh device using 2 ray guns, a Thundergun, and Matryoshka dolls to focus fire on the Gersh device. Once you complete this, you free Gersh and completely shut off the Casimir mechanism. Samantha laughs at you, and you get a 90-second death machine as well as all perks on the map. There are a couple side Easter eggs on Ascension that were there since the original. The first is there are Matryoshka dolls of the 4 main characters, Takia, Nikolai, Dempsey, and Richtofen. They each have different lines depending on the character you press square with, which is really cool. Another small Easter egg is that you can get a free double points by blowing up the rocket when it launches by shooting it with a ray gun. The map also has a free max ammo Easter egg with the Samantha doll in the Chronicles version, but it wasn't worth the hassle because you gotta throw Gersh devices perfectly and outside the map. Since it was the first and had a couple side Easter eggs, I rated a 4.5 out of 5. The music Easter egg on Ascension is great. The song is called Abracadabra and was written by Kevin Sherwood and sung by Lena Segman. The song starts off with the Black Ops 1 Zombies menu music called Damned. It can be activated by interacting with 3 teddy bears that are holding a sickle. One is on the second level of the spawn room to the right on top of a barrel. The next one is right outside the fence near the lunar lander area by Stamina Up. The last one is on top of the wall near the sickle wall by past Speed Cola. Once interacting with the teddy bears, it plays. The song is one of the longest Easter egg songs, and it is over 6 minutes long. I give Abracadabra a 5 out of 5. It's definitely one of my favorite Easter egg songs. The story on Ascension is pretty interesting and focuses on the Russians using the power of Element 115. Gersh discovered Element 115 and ended up making his lead scientist, Yuri Zavoysky, work on Project Mercury. Eventually, Yuri ended up getting switched to the project that led the research of monkeys being sent to space, which was called Rocket Research. Eventually, he ended up doing his own research with the Gersh device and found a diary, and Samantha began messing with him. He started seeing children's toys located around the facility. Eventually, he ended up tricking Gersh to activate the Gersh device. This led Gersh to be trapped in the Casimir mechanism, and Yuri also got teleported to 5. Samantha ended up getting mad when he freed Gersh by doing the main Easter egg. But now, let's take a look at the actual timeline for what that says surrounding the story. October 29, 1963, Gersh informs the senior staff that Yuri has been removed from Project Mercury and has been transferred to Rocket Research. October 29, 1963, Yuri begins to notice the appearance of children's toys around the facility. November 1st, 1963, upon reading Richthofen's diary, Yuri begins to hear Samantha's voice. Over several days, her voice will consume him, driving him to resume work on the Gersh device. He obeys. November 4th, 1963, Gersh announces to the committee that Project Thunder is nearing completion. Gersh reveals Yuri may need to be removed from the Ascension facility, having observed him being hostile towards other scientists and frequently observed muttering to himself. November 5th, 1963, obeying Samantha's wishes, Yuri tricks Gersh into activating the Gersh device. The rift created absorbs him and allows Samantha to travel through. Yuri is also absorbed and transported to the Pentagon. November 6th, 1963, Ultimus arrives at the Soviet Cosmodrome and frees Gersh from the Casimir mechanism. Richthofen recovers his diary and learns that they need the Vril device from the Siberian facility for his plan. Maintaining his ethereal form, Gersh sends them into a rift to their next destination before beginning his travels across space and time. The storyline is pretty cool, and I like how completing the Easter egg fulfills the storyline of freeing Gersh and all that sort of thing. And I also like how we had to deal with Yuri Zavoysky on 5 when we didn't even know anything about him, and then we learned about him afterwards on the next map. I thought it was explained pretty well, and I rated a 4.5 out of 5 for the storyline. Ascension is a very replayable map that still has a lot of people playing it on the older PS3 and 360 systems. The map is so simple that it allows players to just jump in without needing to know much about the map. It is a step up from Kino, which added a little bit extra to the map, but also it kept the casual players in mind. In Black Ops 4, you need to open up Pack-a-Punch to even start the Easter eggs, but back then, Easter eggs were completely optional. You can have fun playing solo and co-op, which I'll dive into soon later on in this video. It is just a very fun map overall to play whenever. I give the replayability a 4 out of 5. The map flow of Ascension is pretty simple as it follows the same basic path most of the time. Most of the time, once you leave the spawn room, you need to go directly to the power room. Most players end up buying the MP5 off the wall and getting as many points as possible. Then you can use those points to open up the power area and then hit the box trying to get the Thunder Gun and Gershes. Once you turn on power and have a good weapon, you can then go around the entire map and open it up and use the landers so that you can open Pack-a-Punch by launching the rockets. The gameplay, like I already mentioned, is very simple, which allows anyone to enjoy themselves and have a good time while playing. I give the gameplay on Ascension a 4 out of 5. Ascension is a very original map and I really like the feel of it. The space race during the Cold War was a very important event that happened in history, so I like that Treyarch based the map in realism. Having the space monkeys really fit to the whole theme of space and the space race. Launching the rockets also is a very cool aspect of the map, and it was something that we didn't see again until Moon at the end of the Easter egg, and then again at the end of the Derizendrach Easter egg. Treyarch always is able to make original maps with unique themes and locations, and Ascension is no exception. 5 out of 5. Every Zombies map has some very impressive records. Ascension is a very heavily played high round map. I'm going to mention the Black Ops 1 high round record solo, as well as the Black Ops 3 Easter egg speedrun time today. The reason I'm talking about the Black Ops 1 high round record is because there are so many people who reached round 255 in the Black Ops 3 version. Also, the Black Ops 3 speedrun for Ascension is more competitive than Black Ops 1. The high round world record for Ascension on Black Ops 1 is round 232 by Phoenix. Sadly, I cannot find any gameplay for this game. The speedrun record with Mega Gobblegums is 7 minutes and 3 seconds by Plasma Jeff, Tina Grau, Mash Manos, and Smid. The 7:03 time is very fast, but can most likely be improved upon by about 10 seconds at least. The high round records are pretty much maxed out on Ascension as well for Black Ops 1, but can still be improved a little bit from where they stand right now. I give the Ascension record a 4 out of 5 because of all the people with 255s on the Black Ops 3 version of the map. Ascension was remade for Zombies Chronicles in 2017 and is a direct copy of the original map with graphical enhancement. The map plays very well, but many people didn't like the fact that Widow's Wine took the place of PhD Flopper. I can understand why Treyarch didn't add it, because it would have taken way too much coding to allow diving back for the flop effect. The Gobblegums being added to the map added variety to the speedruns with Gobblegums, which is a nice aspect because Mega Gobblegum speedruns were the most popular category for Ascension speedrunning and in all of Black Ops 3. I give the remake a 5 out of 5 because it keeps the original feel of the map the same way, which is great. There are a couple fairly decent camping spots that you can use on Ascension, but are only good for co-op. The first is in the large staging area with the Soviet mural on the wall. 2 players can watch the front stairs, one can watch the PhD window, and the other person can watch the window that is up the stairs from that area. The next spot is in the Jug Corridor, but 1 floor below. Keep the door to the spawn room closed, 1 person watches the window, and the other players can watch the stairs as the zombies run down. This spot is pretty good as well. If you go down, you can just go up 1 floor and buy a jug, and also if you need to make an escape, you can go out the spawn room door. Overall, for camping spots, since there are really not that many good ones and you can't really do any solo, I give them a 2.5 out of 5. There are some really great training spots that people use on Ascension. The first one is in the spawn room. Many players like to use the spot where you basically run around where the lunar lander pad is. This is a great spot because of all the zombies will come from directly in front of you. Not only that, but you can use the centrifuge as well to kill zombies. The next training spot is on the staging area next to PhD Flopper. This can be a very good spot to learn the fundamentals of training. It is big enough area that it gives you plenty of space, but you can cut back and get better over time. This is one of the most iconic training spots in all of Zombies. The last and final spot is down on the launchpad area by Pack-a-Punch. This is a very popular spot for high round players as the spawns seem to be fairly fast. You can get an entire horde, then back up into the Pack-a-Punch machine area after firing a T-gun shot at the horde funneling in to the Pack-a-Punch room. Overall, the training spots, I give Ascension a 5 out of 5. They are all really good. Co-op uses the same camping methods that was already mentioned to get higher rounds on casual public match gameplay. Public matches are really fun on Ascension because of how easy the map actually is. There are still many players to this day still jumping in on Ascension and having fun in public matches. For co-op, I give it a 4 out of 5. Solo can be fun depending on the playstyle you're using. For training and other techniques, it can be a great map to learn and get better. It definitely requires the use of tactics to deal with the monkeys as well. The best part of Ascension is that you can train in pretty much any area you want, which can add variety to the map so that you're not always in the same spot. For solo, I give Ascension a 3.5 out of 5. Let's tally up the totals and see where Ascension ends up. Were you able to include all 20 categories, so adding them all up out of the possible 100, we got a total of 83.5 points. I think this is a perfect grade for Ascension. It definitely is more of an average grade for the maps we have gone over so far in this series. Thanks for watching, and next week we'll be covering Call of the Dead.